Welcome to season 2 of CupOJoe, where we caffeinate and percolate. Today's theme is what you're given. What you're given. I don't know. There's a lot that we're given, a lot that we're not. We'll talk more about it in a bit. Today, our special guest is Kyo Koo, chef and partner of Danwei Canting. He's trained at Mugaritz. He's a newly minted chopped champion. What? And he's working on a fine dining concept. Gonna go right over to Kai to say hi. Hi, Kai.
Hello, how are you?
Great. It's a good name. We'll talk about it in a second. Boom. And we're back. So please support this program. As you can see here, Venmo at Joe Kai, PayPal, joe at joekai.com. You can also see the PayPal, direct PayPal link on the comments, which are pinned there. So check that out. Let's see, here we go. Happy song. I think, this song is apropos. It's about growing up, the son of immigrants, and finding joy where you wouldn't expect to find joy. So here we go. Happy song. to make your dreams come true. La, da, 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 da. You would spend the night alone and cry to sleep upon the kitchen floor. La, da, 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 da. When I create, I regurgitate, I'll romance the fate. Literary criticisms in the tongue of a stranger. Everything I've heard, everything I've said, everything I've thought in the moment that passed us away from me, passed away from you, passed away from us, past the path to the swings in the back of my complex, singing to the heavens, bring her home, Lord, hear us, deliver us, and purchase us a Benz, signed Jesus. If I could fly to you, I wouldn't be giving up so soon. La da 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 da. Hey, Lynn. Don't you worry about a thing. I'm here in your pocket too. La da 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 da. I dream of escaping this madness that surrounds us, confounds us, leaves us astounded and doubtful of love around us. When all I have to do is say, hello, how are you? How does it feel? Is that so? Is that true for you too? Yes, all I do may not lead to success, but the days I digress, I am blessed as a guest to dance with the best of us, cry with the worst of us, and stretch like the octopus inside of us in spite of us. Yeah. Puts me in a good mood every time. A little bit of happy song. For those of you who are tuning in, just a reminder to share what you care about. Share this live stream. You can on the right bottom corner. If you're watching on Facebook, you can press share and share as watch party. It'll go to your personal profile and you can watch with all of your friends. And the YouTube. Make comments, make sounds. Let me know you're there, and we'll take it from there. Lynn, good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, and everyone that's on watching, where are you coming from? What are you eating for breakfast? Are you drinking tea, coffee, water, or do you hate drinking anything? Whiskey? Probably not. Probably not. If you are, no judgment, but like, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, it is the weekend, amazing. Okay, so we are going to a little story. So what you're given. Oh, love you too, Emily. Chicago, represent. Here we go. Story. So I grew up the son of poor immigrants, relatively poor. My dad was a PhD student, and so, it's like a TA salary. We had educational privilege, but I think not too much financial privilege. And a lot of the clothes that I wore, most of them I would say were from like the sale rack at the Gap, where my mom kept a very careful inventory of like what was on sale and what was not, what would be on sale and what wasn't. But we also got a fair amount of hand-me-downs, or at least I did, from my church members. So I remember one day coming home, it must have been like 5th grade, 4th grade, and my mom had for me this amazing Letterman, like leather Letterman's jacket with Bugs Bunny on one side, and it was like the coolest thing because Letterman jacket screams America, and I was like, oh my God, like maybe they'll accept me now. And it had Bugs Bunny on it too, for added little street cred, like not only is he wearing a Letterman jacket, but like, like I'm on here. So, how much more American can you get? And I wore it. I remember being really excited wearing it, and I think I wore it it must have been a Sunday because I was at church, right outside Seattle, Washington, and these two guys, they come up to me and they like start snickering, like the way that older people do when they know something that you don't, and when they're making fun of you and you don't know why. Common refrain in my life. But they would snicker and just like look at me, and then one of them came up to me. We'll call him Bob, because no actual Korean American dude is named Bob. They're all like Robert or something, but he comes up to me and he's like, hey, like, like, you know where you got that jacket from? And then his brother, I don't know, Jason, Jason's like that used to be mine. Like, I don't even want it anymore. So I gave it away, and look what happened. Like, now you're wearing it. And it stung, right? Because, the way that they lorded that over me and made me know that this was a cast off of theirs that they were wearing. And I never wore it again. I never wore that jacket again because I hated feeling like that. So I guess it's almost the opposite. This is the sad side of what you're given. Sometimes we're given things, and we don't want them. We think that we want them, and then we realize that we don't. And in other opportunities, I would say sometimes you're given little, but you make do with it, and sometimes you can make something wonderful out of it. Sidestep, I think Kai, who's going to be up in just a second, our special guest and chef, and recent Chop champion. I'm sure he has some words about what you're given, and then fashioning something beautiful and wonderful to eat from things that you have no choice over. So, okay, we're going to do a little bit of improv, as always, here on CupOJoe. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Do you guys like this lighting? It's a morning show, and I've turned the lights off, so it's kind of like, ugh. But I can also turn it off if you don't like it. So, let me know in the comments. As far as improv, it always helps when you have something. So if you need to get anything off your chest, then please post away in the comments, and I'll be peeking at them as I improvise here. Here we go. Improvise here.
Receiving charity, yeah, it is. Mickey digs the lighting, great. Lynn likes the lighting too. You look great, Joe. Thank you for the morning tunes. Yes. Brian, I like the lighting. Woke up too soon this morning. Jim and I made a fabulous breakfast. I wish you could turn up the volume. I'm at maximum on my cell phone. Brenda, I would highly recommend using headphones. If I go any louder on my end, it'll start.
Nice. That was an interesting improv. It was like very artsy, and then I was like, oh, let's just read comments. But that is the improvisational spirit, so here we are. As always, you can support this program by sharing this feed on your Facebook profiles or whatever social media that you would like to do. Or you could just run outside and knock on your neighbor's door, wearing a mask, of course, and just plaster this screen to their window. little fun game of charades. Like, if you don't want to do that, you can also, of course, support me monetarily. Venmo at Joe Kai, PayPal at joe@joekai.com. All right, here we go. We are here with our special guest, Kyo Koo, who is the chef partner of Danwei Canting here in Portland. He's trained at Mugaritz. He's a new chopped champion, and he's working on a fine dining concept. So please give it up for Kai. Hey, Kai. How's it going?
Hello? Can you hear me? Good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Oh, man.
Great.
Wonderful having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Good to
you're
be
in
here.
Seattle right now, is that right?
I am,
Just
yes.
temporarily.
In Seattle, visiting. Yeah, just for the weekend, visiting my mom and my sister and my brother-in-law,
Nice.
nieces and nephews. So
What a privilege in these days and times, right? To see family. You know,
it is. It is most definitely. Yeah, yeah. It's even 3 hours away seems such a long ways
for
away.
sure.
You know what I mean? Because
Where is ooh, what happened to the ooh, there we go. Okay, so first question that we ask every guest here on CupOJoe, how do you identify? How do you like to identify yourself?
That's a pretty broad question, but I identify, I guess, I mean, professionally as a chef. I've been doing it for a while now, and it's something that I love to do. Um, and obviously, it's what pays the bills at the end of the day as well. And another thing I identify is as a dad. I have a 7-year-old son named Egan, so that's another huge part of my life. But yeah, I mean, I guess for me, those are two of the main things that involve me identifying. Oops, sorry, those are dogs. But yeah, so that's about it.
Nice, that's awesome. And of course, the second question that we ask every guest here, a story from childhood. If you have a story of childhood significance that you'd like to share with us.
Yeah. Can we get back to that
Sure.
one? I'm gonna think
Okay,
about it for a
cool.
minute.
No stories
Yeah.
from childhood. Your childhood is just a blur.
It was a blur. I get a lot of stories, but I'm gonna think about it to
Okay,
pick a
cool.
good one.
Well, then let's
So,
go to the collaboration. I love doing
yeah.
this. Like musicians, when I have them on, it's like you gotta like try to time things and figure things out. But instead, you're gonna cook something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually gonna do a kid-inspired dish for you guys.
Nice. I love it.
So yeah, it's pretty simple grilled cheese, but there's just a couple of adjustments that I make to make it a little extra delicious for the kids. But it's basically we're taking Korean milk
Okay,
bread
nice.
and turkey, um, a little bit of burrata cheese, which is just really nice, soft, fresh mozzarella.
Nice.
Here, sorry, and a little bit of sour cream mixed with
Okay.
doenjang, which is Korean fermented soybean paste. It's like
Oh
Korean
yeah.
miso, and then just a little bit of butter, and then we're gonna take a little bit of Kewpie and actually, which is Japanese mayonnaise, and actually put it on the outside of the bread to give it a nice little
Huh.
crust. And what that does is the egg and the sugar inside the mayonnaise actually caramelizes and gives the outside of the grilled cheese a really nice texture.
Yeah. So
So,
I mean, I've heard of like butter, obviously, like before you slap a grilled cheese on there, but you're
right,
actually using Kewpie, like the
right.
Japanese mayo.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yep, that is
Nice.
correct.
Exciting.
So,
Exciting.
can you see
Yep.
how's the view on the
Yeah,
board
looks
right
good.
there?
I'm
Is that all
moving the
right?
monitor around so that people can get a better view too. So, or moving your square around.
So, okay. So this is basically going to be the outside
Okay.
of the sandwich, and this is the Kewpie. So we're just going to take that, and just a really thin layer. You don't need a lot. It's super rich, and this is obviously, has a lot of other rich stuff on the inside, like the burrata. So, but you want to definitely go all the way across
Nice.
and make sure it's coating the outside.
Where do you get your doenjang from?
It depends. If I'm in Portland, I'll usually go to
Okay.
Wuhan. Sometimes H Mart over on
Right,
Belmont. But I don't really have like one place that I get it at. It just varies depending on when it's available and when I need it. So, so this is the sour cream mixed with a little bit of the doenjang.
Nice.
The sour cream that gives it a little bit of the acid to cut through the richness of the burrata, and then obviously the doenjang provides the salt in the dish, since the burrata burrata contains a little bit of salt, but not
And the
not a
umami
lot.
too, though, right?
Yes,
Get
very
that.
much so. Yeah,
Wow.
and then what I'll do is I'll put on the burrata one side first. And this is just sliced like turkey.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. Okay. I'm gonna bring that on the sandwich. And this burrata I've actually just chopped up a little bit. You can see it's just kind of like diced up into pieces like that. So, yeah. Because burrata usually comes in a pretty big chunk. And I guess the only other tip that I would have for you is when you are working with burrata, definitely drain it off. I've actually dried this. I don't know if you can see, but I put a paper towel underneath. It has a lot of water content, and so if you don't drain it off and dry it a little bit,
But you're not squeezing it, right?
it'll definitely
just kind of.
No, not squeezing. Yeah, just letting it gravity drain.
Okay. Gravity drain.
And then yeah, just let. That's actually a pretty good one. So now I'm just heating up the pan.
Nice.
A little bit of butter. Like I said, I'm gonna bring it up to about a medium heat. Melt the butter a little bit. I'm gonna try to get you better be this way.
Little cooking music.
Yeah.
Do you listen to music while you're cooking in general?
I personally no. I actually prefer silence.
That's cool.
In the kitchen when I'm cooking.
The kitchen itself, you're making a lot of sounds, and
right.
It's a more industrial music.
Yeah. So, but you can see here the butter's already starting to brown.
Ooh, we can't.
And with
there we go.
And with Korean milk, yeah, with Korean milk bread too, it browns pretty quickly.
Okay.
So we're going on a low heat on here. I'll just kind of keep it there for a second, you guys, to see.
Okay, a little press, get that caramelization going.
Yep, you want to get it all nice and even across.
Nice. So this is like a regular snack in your household, is that right?
Yeah, this is, nothing out of the norm. Egan, my boy, eats, I would say, pretty well.
Nice.
We cook a lot at home. He's got a pretty wide selection of foods that he's been exposed to in his short time on this planet. So, So this color's looking really nice in the sandwich. So I'm gonna flip it. You'll be able to see the
Oh yeah.
really nice. I don't know if you can,
Oh yeah.
but it's
You're making me hungry, dude.
yeah. But the way that the QP caramelizes across on there, that's key to get that even layer across for the sandwich. I'm just gonna add a little bit more butter, and that's pretty much it. And we just wait for the sandwich to brown on the other side.
Nice.
And
Yeah, Jake.
you can see the
A little bit on top, a little bit around. Heck yeah. Who's gonna eat this sandwich now?
my niece and nephew.
Oh, nice. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Wow. So okay. So you grew up in Portland, right?
Yeah, I was born and raised. I actually lived there in Portland until 8th grade, and then moved up to Seattle for high school.
Okay. What? Where'd you go to high school?
Yeah, over on the east side at Lake Washington.
Okay, nice.
In Kirkland. Yeah, I actually went to JFK and Burien for freshman year.
Okay. I went to Garfield.
Way in South. Oh, you did? Okay, cool.
Central District.
And then, yeah, and then basically from there, I just kind of traveled around, around the country and came back to Portland. God, how long? Back in 2000 and end of 2008, I think that's when it was. When I came back. So I've been back ever since.
What how's that sandwich coming?
It's good. Probably about a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I'll be ready to go.
Okay, but Danwei Canting. How would you describe the food at Danwei Canting?
I would describe the food at Danwei as modern Chinese. We started as, and we still are, pretty heavily influenced by the food scene in Beijing. But we're evolved to, I would say, a little bit more of a broad spectrum of kind of what's happening in China, but also what's happening in America as well, as far as Chinese food goes. So
wait, what's happened?
And we try to take a.
You're trying to say that one more time?
Oh, we just try to take a fun approach to it.
Sure.
We're fast casual. Want to give people a really, really delicious experience, but also we want to make it fun. So that's a big thing for us.
I think that's like the interesting concept of what Americans view, at least traditionally, what Americans view Chinese food as, which is like fast food. It's like Panda Express, but if you go to China,
right.
you don't go, oh, I'm gonna get fine dining and not eat Chinese food. There's a whole spectrum.
Right.
Obviously, there's street food. There's really fancy Chinese food.
Yeah. There's so many.
So how do you feel like you have to? What's it look like to navigate that? As far as managing people's expectations, but also challenging people's expectations. And,
Yeah, it's a process. When we introduce new things to the menu, nothing's ever guaranteed, because we've tried a couple items where I thought I'm thinking this is gonna be gangbusters. It's gonna sell right away, and we put it on the menu and nobody's ordering it. And then there's stuff where I feel like it's solid. I think we're gonna kind of play around. We'll run it as a special, and we'll sell 20 of them the first day. Just being on the chalkboard. Right. So it's very unpredictable. Yeah, such as the restaurant.
Sure. It's it's kind of like music too, in that sense. Sometimes I'll really love a song or an improvisation, and then I'll look up after having been in the zone, and then nobody's online anymore. It's you were just. Is the sandwich done?
It is. Yeah. I'm gonna actually cut it here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to do this.
See that ooey gooey inside.
That's your finished product right there. And we'll give it a cut. Yeah, so, but that's the
Yes,
turkey, burrata, and a little sour cream and doenjang
dude.
grilled
I
cheese.
gotta try that. I mean,
So
little squirt of sriracha on the
yeah,
side.
yeah, that's always good.
That was not convincing. That's always good.
I know it's great with grilled
Heck
cheese,
yeah.
but that's your finished
Amazing.
plate right
Thanks
there.
so much, Kai.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask you some more questions. Yeah, let's go
yeah,
back
no worries.
to. Yeah, I just want to make sure
Yeah.
you're comfortable. Um, nice.
Mhm.
So okay. So did you? How did you start cooking Chinese food?
Well, I cooked some basic Chinese food kind of just growing up, and especially after I started being a professional chef. But with Danwei, I'd never cooked Chinese food professionally before until I met my business partner, James Kyle. So we met through a mutual acquaintance, and we met. We kind of talked about the concept of doing a fast casual Chinese. And Kyle, he doesn't anymore, but he lived in Beijing for about 15 years. He's American, um, but he was looking for a chef to kind of help execute his idea of bringing the food of Beijing to Portland. And so we met, we vibed really well, and Danwei was born, and that's how I started cooking Chinese food
Nice.
professionally.
Is it crazy with
Yeah,
coronavirus and
yeah.
stuff? Like how's that affecting just the process?
It's been, yeah, it's been very crazy. We went from a restaurant where 90% of our business was sit down, and it's kind of flip flopped, and so now we're post Corona, we're doing about 80% of our revenue is delivery and takeout. Um, and a few people come out to
Sure.
eat on the weekends, but I feel like people are still very, and understandably, and I'm
Sure.
one of those people where people are still very cautious about going out and being around
Right.
larger groups and
Do you
whatnot.
hate?
So yeah, I mean that was,
I was gonna say
what's
on a
that?
scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the devil and 10 being like Buddha. Uh, how much do you hate
Uh,
caviar?
I
Slash Postmates slash all
don't
of
hate
those things.
caviar
Yeah.
at all. Like, well, we're actually DoorDash exclusive, so DoorDash owns
Ooh.
caviar now, um, and they've actually streamlined the process quite a
Okay.
bit for us. So we're, uh, to be perfectly honest, very thankful for DoorDash and
Mm.
caviar. Yeah, so because they're one of, I feel like for a lot of restaurants, I mean they're one of the lifelines that go, and plus too, the city of Portland, the city council is really good about um, you know having the restaurants
Mm.
benefit
Hmm.
at the
Hmm.
forefront as in relation to third party
Sure.
delivery services. So overall, yeah, I mean, really, like it's been a pretty good
Nice.
experience. So, and I know that that's not the norm
Sure.
for a lot of restaurants, but for us, from our experience with Dunway, like
Yeah.
it's been okay.
Well, I think,
So
yeah, having like
yeah.
a public entity like the city, try to regulate some of that and make sure
Mhm.
that there is no like, price
Right,
gouging. That's important.
right,
In-
right.
Interesting.
It is, yeah.
I,
So
I want to hear about your fine
yeah.
dining concept. So what's going on? What's with that?
So that's Super Hawk, and my most of my background before Donway has been in fine dining.
Mugar
But
Eats.
yeah, Super Hawk is basically just my, yeah, which is a place where
It's
I
like all
trained
the
at as
all the
well in
food
Spain.
shows have like
Um,
Mugar Eats as like the mecca of like fine dining training.
uh, it's one of the meccas. Andoni, the chef there, his philosophies are definitely, even for a lot of fine dining chefs, are definitely out there. Um, but his understanding and appreciation of how to not only really uh, create the food, but to create an emotional or like an intellectual reaction
Right.
from a customer. And for me, that's a huge like a huge perspective where I never even thought about until I worked there. And for me, that's also a really important part, especially in fine dining, to be able to, to do that for a client. But yeah, so Super Hug is just right now we're hoping to do a couple of pop-ups this year, before the end of the year. Um, but it's basically the culmination of my, cooking career and my dream place that I've wanted to open for probably going on easily 6, 7 years now. Have had a couple of opportunities where we got close, but they never, you know, it's the restaurant business, so one or two things just never panned out in the end, and we haven't just been able to go brick and mortar yet. But we're hoping for 2021.
What's the concept of
Get through
the?
this. The concept is basically so we'll be offering tasting menu, 3 days a week to start, and we'll probably be open either 5 or 6 days. The tasting menu will be an 8-person tasting counter, and then the seating will probably be between about 24 to 32 like a la carte.
What's
like
the food?
tables.
What's the food?
It's kind of ingredient driven, but with a lot of influences just from my career. I mean, my Korean background, but also obviously with like Japanese and Chinese influences as far as ingredients and technique. But I maintain relationships with a lot of the purveyors and farmers and ranchers, in Oregon and Washington, and so that'll definitely be a very unique aspect to, using a lot of just small scale producers, trying to stay pretty seasonal. That's not to say we're not going to use ingredients from around the world, but I'd like to keep most of the menu like pretty focused on what's at hand. But like I said, I mean, we'll have the occasional plate with caviar, I'm sure, or what have you from a different country, fish from Japan, stuff like that. So, but yeah, we're excited. I've got like I said, a couple of pop-ups hopefully coming up. So people should keep their eyes and ears open.
Where can they follow along?
We have a Super Hot Instagram. There's no posts yet, but they follow my personal IG at KYO Cooks. The first pop-up will probably go up there, and it's going to be really limited. The first ones, it might be tops like 10 seats. So yeah. So
That is super exciting. I can't wait to try it. I feel like in the East Asias, like people, I think Americans are like, okay, like we can handle like Japanese fine dining. That makes sense to people, but like Chinese fine dining, Korean fine dining, I think it's still
a little more foreign. Right. Yeah, because in America especially, kaiseki food has been the one that's really made an imprint on American fine dining, like you're saying, as far as Asian fine dining goes. So, but yeah, I mean, there's Korean fine dining and Chinese fine dining that's just as good as anything in Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kai, thank you so much for coming on. Really.
Oh yeah, no,
really
pleasure.
Appreciate it. Taking time from the family to be with us here on CupOJoe. If people have questions, so people follow along at KYO Cooks on Instagram. You can also try to friend him on Facebook. We'll see. You'll see what happens. He may filter you out. We'll see. But amazing, great talking with you, and hopefully we get to see you I get to see you at Danwei in person someday.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Thanks
for having me, Joe.
Safe travels.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks.
Bam, and we're back. Oh man, he's so nice. Oh, Jake just followed. Nice. Yeah, he's like when you see him. So Danwei has an open kitchen, and so when you go in, you can see him. Like if he's there, you can see him cooking. Like he has this like intense like fiery, like he's just like working away, and it's cool to see someone who's just so involved in their craft like that. So okay, so we are going to Kai is cool AF. I totally agree, Jake. Let's see, here we go. We're moving on to a short ditty for Wayne, who filled out the survey, the CupOJoe feedback survey that I put out after season 1. So here we go. What are we gonna do? Wayne, thank you for filling out the survey. Nice. That's a good ditty. Okay, let's see. 2 weeks from now, we have our next episode of CupOJoe. I'm really excited to have Sophie Lippert, who's a pianist here in town. She does everything from classical to not so classical. We've had a few concerts together. She's just released a new album, so we'll have her on to talk about the album, talk about that process. And has such an amazing creative heart space. So I'm really excited to converse with her. You can mark that in your calendars now. 2 weeks from now on Saturday at 10 a.m. You can support here, Venmo or PayPal. Let's see, buy local, of course. As you all know, some of you know, I have 16-month-old twins here at home, which is certainly, it can be 2 hands full. But one of the ways that I entertain them is that they love books so much. And where do I get my books? Well, I get a lot of them from Powell's because let's support local. And I also have been getting a lot of my books and toys recently from Hammer and Jack's, which is a toy store here in Southeast Portland. It has a lot of different things, balloons if you're having a birthday party, and a really good hand-selected assortment of books for kids. So you can use CupOJoe, CupOJoe. Use that promotion code, and you should get 15% off any of the purchases from there. They also do local delivery. What? Okay, thank you everyone out there for tuning in. Also, our partner, Bravo Youth Orchestra, they have a benefit magic show with internationally renowned magician Joshua Lozoff on October 27th. For more info, go to OregonBravo.org/magic. And if you're following along on my social media, then I'll be posting about it there as well. All right, we've come to the last part of our show. We have a new song. Yes, Wayne, you! That was a ditty for you. Okay, here we go. We are gonna do a little voting song. I wrote it last night. I think it has a nice ring to it. So here we go. Vote. Whoa! That's for the rave version. 2, 3, 4. Vote. Vote. First presidential election, I get to vote. Fill out the circle, make my selection. Take your time, do some research.
peeps, it's okay if your thoughts diverge. Just go and vote. Yeah, go and vote. Vote this Klein right out of his seat. Fill out the ballot and get on your feet. Now walk it down to the drop-off site. Now flex your muscles 'cause you exercise your right. Your right to vote.
There we go.
Don't forget there are people who can't. Cheated out the system, migrants and transplants. Open that ballot and take out your pen. If you don't care, at least vote for them. Oh, we gotta vote. Oh, we gotta vote. Yeah, we gotta vote. Get your butt up and vote. Yeah, 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 Black or blue ink, only vote, 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 vote. Lick off the top, vote, 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 vote. I said go vote. It's almost already too late. You gotta get that voting on time. So go and vote. Yeah. Awesome. Maybe I'll post a video of that later. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you 2 weeks from now, November 7th, and it'll be right after the election, actually. So between then and now, let's hope, and let's vote.